recording and start streaming, because why
I
not?
was gonna say, I'm not recording, you're recording.
Oh yeah, I am recording.
Ah,
We're also
alrighty.
live.
Yeah, we
Hopefully.
are.
I actually got a new light source too, so I'm not so super bleached out.
Oh, I don't. I gave up. I'm super. Okay, hang on, I gotta fix something on my end. Sound alerts don't work on the podcast.
Oh no,
I told y'all that a million times.
they work on mine. Sorry,
I need to drop my frames per second. 1 second. I'm gonna have to restart this whole stream.
you're okay. I turned those off. That's frustrating. So if you actually have me pulled up on stream, you'll see. This is for anybody that's joining us now. You'll see that we've got Squidsy above me. I am Punkfox. We've done this before. I'm gonna turn this down. Yeah, no, still a little bleached.
A little
There.
bit.
That looks better.
It's alright. I'm all kinds of jumpy because my frames per second capture is different.
Yeah,
It's fine.
but on mine you will see on my left here, or on our left, because we're facing the same direction. On our left will be my chat box, and on my right here we will see Corrosive Squid's chat box, which is really awesome because you can actually interact with us in live stream now. So, hooray! I don't know how loud the music is behind us, but
Oh yeah.
the music that we are listening to today happens to be a coffee house jazz kind of theme, and the reason for it being that is that we're going to be talking about Trigun and Cowboy Bebop. And if you've
Bebop.
ever seen either show, well, Cowboy Bebop's intro has a kind of jazzy noir theme to it, and Trigun has this rock kind of sound to it, but there are some jazzy themes in the background music of the show itself. So,
Of the two, which is your favorite?
Trigun, just bar none. It's been my favorite since I first saw it. I want to say the early 2000s. So
I don't know. See, okay, so I didn't watch Bebop till after I met my husband, and he was like, this is my favorite anime, or one of my favorites. You have to watch it. So I watched it and fell in love with it. I actually got to meet Steve Bloom. Super sweet fucking guy.
nice.
He is a chill dude.
Nice.
And then I watched Trigun when it was on Adult Swim for a while, and I stopped watching it. Oh, this is going to be covered in spoilers, by the way. If you've seen neither of these animes and you want to,
go ahead and click away, please, before
Yeah, sorry.
we ruin these really amazing anime. And even if you do want to stick around, these anime are actually absolutely fantastic. Even if you know what's going to happen, the themes and everything about them are just, honestly, like, if I want to rank Trigun in my like list of top 15 anime, it's probably number 2 easily.
Yeah. No, I stopped watching Trigun after Wolfwood died for a long time and then refused to go back to it. I was like, no, my favorite character has died. I'm not fucking watching this shit anymore. And then I, of course, met Lyle, and Lyle was like, no, you have to continue this.
Yeah.
You have to keep watching.
That's
what I did.
Even in the anime, like, or the manga, both sets of manga, he dies in a very similar way, like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just, it hits hard. It hurts.
It hurts so bad, so bad. Oh shit.
But one big difference between the manga and the anime is that in the anime, Millie and Wolfwood have built a relationship, whereas in the manga they don't build a relationship at all like they do.
Yeah.
So it's like, that hurts.
The whole thing hurts. thing hurts. I know you were talking about when we talked about doing this, and you were messaging me, and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I need to talk about the differences in the two like openings because that's a big overarching theme."
Right. So the big thing that I noticed in the difference of I gotta turn the music down just a tiny bit.
You're good. Do what you gotta.
For my own ears, just because I'm having sensory problems today.
You're good.
But when watching the two, because Bebop was one that I didn't pick up until, I want to say, my third rewatching of it was the past few weeks, just to kind of prepare myself for this. And the intros play a massive... They just work so well to build the atmosphere of the anime. So with Bebop, you've got this jazzy noir, very, it seems like a very detective-like intro. And if you've never heard it, please do. It's a fantastic score. And when you watch the show itself, that with that idea of what the intro is trying to do, it's like, oh, I get it. It's setting up the show itself. It's this detective. They're trying to, trying to find
Bounty hunter.
Yeah. They're, and then Trigun is very chaotic. It's very all over the place. It's got this, this overarching like heavy guitar that just goes and goes and goes, and it's just everywhere. Well, when you actually watch the show, Vash the Stampede himself is very, very all over the place. Chaos runs rampant throughout this entire show, and it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, whereas Spike is definitely more mellow, more chill, more
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. And it's,
And I noticed that with the characters themselves too, is like Spike being that very chill, there are a lot of characters around him that do kind of have that chaos incarnate. Faye and Ed are very, very crazy, very wild, very out there. Whereas in the opposite, with Vash is very much, he wants to find peace, but he's always always chaos, crazy everywhere. But you've got the seriousness of the planet, and you've got the seriousness of Millie, and well, not really Millie because she's kind of that stereotypical ditz. But
we love Millie.
But you've got Meryl Streep. She's very, she's very serious. She wants all of this to stop because it's doing nothing but hurting him. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then Spike's companion, Jet, is also super chill.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a difference between external chaos and internal chaos. Whereas Vash, he was very chaotic, but he wanted to find that peace. And while Spike wanted to find something, he also just was ready for whatever life threw at him.
Right. And that brings the question of how much of a mask can somebody put on before they just kind of give up. You look at these two characters and there's always this hope for something. Vash's hope is that he can help the humans continue to learn to live and continue to grow, whereas I'm gonna let you finish with Spike. I haven't this third watch through. I've been focusing very heavily on the atmosphere behind them, and kind of lost with Spike.
So Spike's way more of a nihilist. Spike is way more of a whatever happens, happens. If I die, I die. If I don't, I don't. I just got lucky this time. He doesn't care. He doesn't care what happens to him. And it's very much a question of, you were talking about masking, and, Vash puts on this mask of, yeah, I'm great. Everything's fine. Everything is fantastic. You've got Spike on the other opposite end of that, who's like, it's the yeah, everything's fine, everything's good, but it's not this happy-go-lucky face. It's this, whatever happens, happens, but I'm good. Figure it out.
So much pain in these characters that we just don't actually ever really see. I want to say the most pain you see with Vash is when he is fighting the Badland gang on the big steamship, and he accidentally shot to fatally hurt one, and like he's over there hurting and in pain, and just you could tell that he did not want to do that. And that thought, that to me has always been like that episode that really truly defines Vash as a character, because it's like he does joke, he does have there's a lot of like funny moments, but then there's that seriousness of, oh, he really does take this in a way that we would normally not see. And I gotta change my lighting or something because I look like a ghost. I don't know what it is.
You're good.
I think it might be the red. No, the blue. Wow.
Now you really are a ghost.
Blue, Eiffel 65, right?
Right? Yeah. Whereas with Spike, it's definitely it's all in his little behaviors. He does. I mean, even his best friend has at least, his best friend Jet has learned to figure out what behaviors equal what emotions, but at the end of it, Spike is so good at putting on that face and putting on that mask. And he does these little things to show he cares. Like in the Red Eye episode, it's one of the, I think it's the first episode, the Red Eye episode. He lets him go. He just lets him go. And it's these little things and it's these tiny little behaviors, versus Vash is very clearly hurt.
One thing I do love, and I think it doesn't just stick with these two, but with most anime protagonists, is they kind of pick up little lost people who are lost throughout the entire series. So, and it's very easy to be seen in Cowboy, specifically with how he picks up Faye, he picks up Ayn, he picks up Ed. I'm certain there's a couple more, but again, thoughts fleeting.
No, those are really the only ones. And he puts on this persona of,
Right.
I mean,
I don't really care about him, but then like goes out of his way to make sure that they're good. I hate dogs, I hate kids, and it's like, you love Ayn, don't lie. And Ed is great.
Okay, but who doesn't love Ayn?
I love Ayn, but I love corgis. Granted, I have Great Danes, but
yeah, you have the very opposite of corgis. The exact opposite of corgi.
And it is really true, because corgis, small dog with big attitude. Great Danes, big dog, think they're this big. Perfect animals. I love it.
We're gonna get off track here in a second, but I tell my husband, because my husband wants a corgi so bad when we move. Wants one desperately, and I asked him. I was like, you realize that they're stubborn. They're just stubborn dogs. And he's like, yeah, I know that. I asked him, I was like, what is with you and stubby-legged creatures that are stubborn? And he just kind of started laughing.
I mean, it happens, right?
But yeah, and it's definitely versus Vash, who is this overtly, let me show you how much I care.
Mm-hmm. So I was thinking on it, and this is just a random little thing. So Ayn is, after he is brought into the show, he's pretty much in every episode. Mm-hmm. Right? It's 26 episodes. That's a big similarity between the two of them, too. Their anime run was 26 episodes in English.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. But so Ayn is in almost every episode, whereas there's this little black cat that is in almost every episode of Trigun, and you see him for a flash of a moment. He's in the intro, but you see him for a flash of a moment, and he's like, meow, every episode.
Brokino.
Yes.
I had a wristband with him, and I had in middle school, and I had a shirt with him, and his fur was so it had his whole face and body, and it was actually fuzzy.
Nice.
Where he was. Yeah.
Nice.
I wore that shirt till the velveteen like rubbed off.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it is true. Which is interesting, given the nature of the main characters. You know, corgis are kind of all over the place and kind of happy little, just happy little dogs.
And cats tend to be very introverted into themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Most cats. There are those outliers, you know. But I think that's personality wise.
But yeah, I do think that's a big thing. I think it's a big thing to point out because I don't think I ever noticed that. I never noticed that trade-off.
Right. Another, so like there's so many trade-offs between these two, and that's what I love is like one, the main character is nihilistic, whereas everybody around them is still looking for hope, still looking for money, still looking to move forward. And in the other, you've got the protagonist who is very hopeful and very wanting to help and wanting to build and wanting to grow, but everything around him is just dying on this desert planet. And it's so full of
Yeah.
that nihilism, and it's so strange, you know.
Because it wasn't on purpose. I mean, these two anime, completely different studios, completely different writers. I don't think it was on purpose at all, but it is interesting
Right. And I
to
mean,
see.
it's really it's really great too because you look at their settings, you know, overall. In Trigun, the setting starts out on the desert planet. You don't really find out that they left Earth because they lost all their natural resources until much later. Whereas like Bebop, Earth is still kind of a crapshoot because I mean we are a parasite overall, and we are kind of ruining our planet. But Bebop is kind of they still go back to Earth occasionally, but they've terraformed other worlds. Whereas Trigun, they're trying to, but the main, and here's the spoiler alert, the main antagonist of the entire series kind of wiped out a lot of the availability of resources and humans themselves.
Yeah.
So,
So I want to know. I actually wrote this down in the notes. You know, you look at Vash and you look at Spike, especially Spike, is like when you think of masculinity and things like that, Spike.
mhm.
Yeah. So I actually want to know your take on that.
So like what the characters, how they present as masculine,
Not
or
so much that, but kind of as a representation of masculinity, because you do have these two very masculine characters in a way, in different forms. You know, Spike is that quiet nihilist, figure it out.
so when I think about it from the idea of like who would be the more desirable partner over time, you we look at, and yeah, this is gonna say something, but like Spike is the bad boy persona that most people, and I'm not going to say women, but most people would want in their early, their late teens, early 20s, because you want that, that guy who's like brooding and sullen, sad and depressed. But then when you grow up, like they don't have the dad bod effect, but like Vash, he does have that dad bod like persona. He's goofy, he's funny, but he knows when to be serious and how to be serious about it, and it's not just seriousness all the time.
And gods know I love him stupid, so absolutely
Right.
Vash.
Right. And the thing is like Vash is stupid in the fun way, and he is really intelligent,
Yeah, he's super bright.
but I mean, not being human, that's kind of a different thing.
Yeah.
And there's the other thing too, is they're both, and this goes to both characters, they are both very loyal to the ones that they love. you know um Vash loved Savrem, and he literally lived his entire life up until the end of the last episode with the idea of not to harm somebody else, because we can't play God, we can't play
Yeah.
judge, jury, and executioner. And I know that Spike, had that whole the deal with Julia where he was, you know, trying to find out what happened to her, and
Yeah, betrayed by, I forget his name.
right. That was actually the episode I just watched, so that was why that's pretty fresh in my memory. See, I should have rewatched the whole thing. I think I got to episode 20 before I stopped this last time, because monkey brain go burr.
Vicious.
Yeah. I really love the music that's playing in the background right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's real good. I was looking at the other kinds of things real quick, because I made notes to help keep us on track this time.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I know, it's crazy. Ooh, yeah, since we're delving into kind of what they've been through, trauma.
Ooh. Yeah. So I'm gonna let you start with this one, because we'll start with Spike, because like the trauma isn't as, I mean, it's there, but he wears trauma a little more on his face than Vash does. Vash is literally scarred all over his body.
100%. When it comes to the trauma, you know, Spike definitely. I'm trying to think of what Spike's life was. Yeah. Yeah, Spike was, you know, very much into this chaos with these bounty hunters, and that was his whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, when you're in chaos, that's what you know. And so his trauma was a little more what he saw. You know, it was less physical like Vash's was. It was a little less. Yeah.
I have to take out my brother so he doesn't murder the entire population.
And well, I mean, Spike did have an artificial eye.
Yeah.
I've completely actually forgot about that. But yeah, you know, Spike was definitely more of wore it on his shoulders. He wore it emotionally. It was heavy, and you could tell it was heavy, and it was heavy in the way, you know, that made him nihilist. It was heavy in a way that made him go, you know what? If I die, I die. If I don't, I don't. But I'm also not going to be mad if I get shot.
That brings the idea of like how we talked about wearing a mask earlier.
Yeah, and that's...
when Wolfwood is introduced into the series of Trigun, he does mention, he goes, you know, that guy, he has this smile that you can tell that's not real, but he does show that smile. And then when Wolfwood gives the food pellets to the kids, or the food bars to the kids, he's actually genuinely smiling, and Wolfwood goes, "That's something I've not seen yet. You actually smile."
Yeah.
And it's like,
I know,
there.
And that whole episode broke my heart. I forgot about that episode.
And
Thanks.
like,
I didn't need it.
and like that's the thing specifically with him, is that it is he's there. It hurts, but he's there, and he's trying to put his best face forward so that everyone else can try to have their best face forward as well.
See, whereas Spike didn't even try to put his best face forward.
Yeah.
He got bored with life. You know, he lost the woman he loved. He got out of this constant chaos, constant, you know, go, and was bored.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing about trauma that I don't think a lot of people talk about, is that when you're so used to all the bullshit around you, and you're so used to unstable ground, that stability is boring.
It really is.
And I think Spike encompasses that. He fell into this depression, and he didn't have anything else to focus on. There was no woman to focus on. There was no real jobs to focus on. I mean, yeah, he does the jobs with Jet as the bounty hunter, but they're few and far between. They're not a whole lot, and he's bored.
Whereas like trauma for Vash is he puts himself into, he hyperfixates, let's say that. He's hyperfixating on, at this point, trying to find knives to solve the problems, try to help people, but he also, you know, does little things around. He tries to to forget his problems, but he also tries to, they call him a womanizer throughout the series, but that's because like he wants to fall in love. He wants to enjoy life, but
Yeah.
it's so hard for him to.
Yeah. And it's very different because Spike does try to put himself in that chaos. It's the bounty hunts. He tries to put himself back into that. And I think, we talked about the kind of the passive suicidality of Spike, but I think a lot of it is so he'll just fucking feel something again.
Yep.
Because whereas Vash tries to create this happiness, and granted, it creates a lot of chaos, he tries to create this happiness around him. Spike's just given up.
Yeah. And it could also be like we think about we can't really talk about age wise because Vash is over 100.
Yeah.
And Vash or Spike's early 30s, mid 30s, and it's like you can't really just compare age wise. But if you think about their maturity levels and where they are in their trauma recovery, because they are recovering from trauma just because they've maladapted to it. We think about how Spike is at a point where he's done crying about it. More, he's just kind of like, okay, it's here, it sucks, everything sucks, and I'm just gonna kind of drift until something hits me in the face.
Well, and that's, comparing Vash to Ed because, Ed was carefree and eccentric. And oh my god, look at all these things. And oh my gosh, look how great this is. This is awesome. But was so fucking lonely after being abandoned. He was abandoned on a planet by her dad. Or she was abandoned on a planet by her dad. And she just, when Spike picked her up and found her, it was very much, oh my gosh, hey, oh my god, new people.
I love the episode where Ed is playing the chess game with the Grandmaster Hex.
Oh yeah.
And it's just some old guy who's dealt with dementia.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, no, I can't stop thinking about that episode where Wolfwood and Vash, and that's something I've never seen before.
Which?
Smile.
Trigun. Yeah. There are some, and that's one thing I love about both of these anime is that, like, a lot of people really judge anime. They really judge it because it's cartoons, and like some people don't like the art style, and I get it.
Fine.
It's not for everybody, but I often, step back and say, hey, step away from the art, step away from the fact that it's a cartoon, and look at it for the storyline. Because that's where it really goes. It's like, don't look at it as a cartoon or something for nerds or geeks. Look at it as
children.
Right. Look at it as neither of these are for children. Let's be real.
No, God, no.
But like, look at it for the stories themselves. If we step away from these two, one of my favorite examples is like you compare like long serialized anime such as Dragon Ball or Bleach to one of these very short animes that's like, here it's 52 episodes or 26 episodes and it is a short compacted story. The emotions from like Dragon Ball is like, okay, it's a lot of fighting, it's a lot of big flashy everything, whereas like Full Metal Alchemist really hits you in the gut at times.
Oh, that's one we're gonna have to talk about.
It is. But
I feel like you and I could go on for a lot longer than 2 fucking hours of Full Metal.
I could probably go at least 2 or 3 hours just on Full Metal itself, and not comparing Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood to the original, but like both, yeah. I mean,
Just overarching on both of them.
you know, I've got that tattoo on the back of my arm because
I
I'm
need
a
to get
redhead and I have no soul because, you know, might as well get it tattooed on me. But
I need to get my Flamel.
nice.
But yeah, and then okay, since we're kind of moving to side characters, um, Faye Valentine
Mm-hmm.
was a really interesting character because she kind of internalized the nihilism you see in Spike, but didn't really wear it on her face as much.
Real quick. This is away from that just for a second.
Yeah.
If you are listening to the music that is going on in the background, this current song actually does have a very similar sound with the bass to the intro to Cowboy Bebop,
Oh god, that bass line is so
right?
that bass line is so good. But
But
I like that heavy floor bass.
yeah, it's a very comforting sound. Now going back to like Faye and the fact that she, you know, internalizes that nihilism from Spike.
Yeah. But she doesn't really wear it on her face.
Mhm.
She's a little more, hey, we'll figure it out, but in an upbeat way. Like it's still the same thing, but it's just like, hey, no, it's great, it's good, we'll figure it out. But she still had that hardened kind of personality. The world fucking sucks, and the people in it fucking suck. You know, we deceive, or we are deceived, and nothing ever happened to me when I trusted. Nothing good ever happened to me when I trusted others.
Okay.
Were two of her lines.
Right. In comparison, I would think like Faye would probably be very similar to like if we're taking character like side characters and kind of comparing them to side characters of the other anime. So Faye to me would be Wolfwood, specifically because of the hard past that he had to go through and all of the secrets, but still trying to atone for the things that he's done and try to help people. So like his big shtick overall is helping kids and literally going hungry if he has to make sure that children are taken care of, because he in that aspect he is looking out for the future, but he still knows that the world sucks.
Yeah.
And like
No.
his, you know, the words on his dying breath is like, is this how it happens, is this my time, how I go? And it is a heart-wrenching moment. There was a rumor that like the author wanted of the anime, like when they were adapting it to the anime, they wanted Millie to be pregnant with, and this is again, this is a rumor, this is I believe I might have found this in a Tumblr post, but they wanted Millie to be pregnant with Wolfwood's child to kind of like solidify that relationship and make it more impactful. It wasn't ever true, but like again, that would have made that so much more impactful with his death.
Yeah. And oh god, Wolfwood will always have my heart.
Right.
That will always be my favorite character in Trigun. Consistently. And Millie. I love Millie to pieces. But 100%. And you know, then we get to on Cowboy Bebop we get to Jet. And I love Jet.
Jet is a good character.
I love Jet. Because he's
kind of like the voice of reason.
Yeah, he's Spike's foil.
Yeah.
He is the voice of reason. When Spike goes, I'm gonna go do this thing, you're gonna get killed. Yeah, okay, that's fine. It's cool. You know, and Jet is like, no, that's not fine. We can't be doing this, Spike.
Right.
You know, despite also thinking the world fucking sucks.
And that's
thinking it's just an awful place.
That would be Meryl, you know, the Bernardelli. She's there to be like, hey, don't do this. I'm here to try to make sure that you don't screw everything up. You know?
Or not Millie, Meryl.
Meryl. Derringer Meryl, which would I still love, and the comparison of Jet and Meryl is like, while they, are there to be that foil for the main protagonist, Jet is an ex police officer, right? Turned bounty hunter.
Yeah.
Whereas Meryl, you know, she's an insurance lady, but don't fuck with her. She's got a jacket full of little pistols that she is
I,
ready to pull out and like whip some ass. Granted, Millie's weapon's better, stun gun Millie with that giant
oh,
wham.
I know. I adore Millie.
And then you think of that, like Ed, super smart, super great, super hilarious, kind of everywhere. And Millie is just not, but she is super funny because she's so ditzy that it plays very well with that comic relief idea.
Yeah. Well, so, yeah. I love them. But...
I thought that was lemonade.
Oh, no! What was it?
Mountain Dew.
Oh, no. At least it wasn't the flaming hot Mountain Dew. I watched you
Oh,
do
that was so bad. Oh, that...
Did you do that?
The flavor itself was not bad. It's that after kick, the capsaicin just sits in the back of your throat and it just hurts. It was so bad.
Remember when the gingerbread one came out, and I had friends that were like, "The gingerbread one is." Ugh.
I actually liked the gingerbread one.
Did you really?
Yeah. I bought a 12-pack of it because I was like, this is so weird. It actually tastes good.
My husband is waiting for Baja Blast to come back out for the summer.
I wish they would bring out like the Pitch Black series again.
Oh yeah, Pitch Black was good.
Right. So, we kind of went through a lot of these really quickly.
We did. We did. Well, actually, one of the ones we didn't talk about was laughing in the face of struggles. I mean, Spike doesn't laugh, really.
Right. And that's literally Vash's whole shtick. One of the episodes that really brings to my mind and laughing in the faces of his troubles was he was trying to find Frank to fix his gun. And they joke, Frank's a drunk because he helped the town by making them guns. Well, one of the guns that he made was used in a robbery that killed people, and he didn't like that really hurt, so he turned to alcohol to kind of drown his sorrows. And in this, like when Vash first meets him, he's stumbling, and Vash is like, hey, or he cons Vash into buying him a drink. Well, in that, like, what happens there is he figures it out that it's Frank, and they drink together, but they're laughing and having a good time, while you can tell there's so much pain between the two of them. Like, that's one instance. Another instance is that same episode that I was talking about when we first meet Wolfwood. The two guys, they're laughing and joking, but like Meryl mentions, there's two guys there's so much pain there, but they're still trying to laugh. And it's like that's legit, and we all do that, not just in these anime, but as people. We try to laugh and we try to lean towards humor even when we're at our most like the deepest part of our pain. It's not easy to be in that situation, but it's kind of what we do.
Something I read that was really interesting was that humor and trauma tend to have similar trajectory lines.
Yeah.
So when you look at humor, there's this build up and build up and build up and build up, and then you've got a punchline that's unexpected and everybody laughs, and you've got the downhill.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with trauma. I use a car crash as an example because it's one of the best ones to be able to use. But you're going, nothing's wrong, everything's good, and all of a sudden something unexpected happens, you crash. And then it all comes downhill from there.
And you could actually take that in, like, the same idea of a book, is you've got this build up to the climax, and then the climax, and after that it's all downhill from there.
Yeah. And it's that's why it's so easy to turn trauma into humor.
Mm-hmm.
and oh, I'm funny because of my trauma. Well, technically yes, but that's okay.
Yeah, and it's okay to have that as a coping mechanism as long as you realize that I am using my humor to cope and not just as a way to avoid it.
That's actually something I talk about a lot. Is that gallows humor? Gallows humor makes certain people uncomfortable. Like I can't make certain gallows humor jokes around a couple of friends of mine because it makes them uncomfortable, and that's
Mhm.
fine. That's no big deal. But then I have friends that I can send some of the worst to,
That would be me.
and we all laugh and we all have a good time. Like I remember one of my best friends. I did something. I don't remember what I did. And she went, Squidsy, what are we gonna do with you? And I go, well, you could take me out. That would be great. And she's like, I would love to go on a date with you. That would be so much fun. I'd love that. She was so excited. I met with a sniper, but sure, we'll do this your way. And she did not find that nearly as funny as I did.
I would have found that funny.
It's hilarious. But, and using that gallows humor to cope with it, because if you're not going to laugh about it, you're going to cry about it.
I think, is that a hand up fatality or is that,
No, that's not fatality.
That's not fatality?
Is that fatality in chat?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is fatality in chat.
I'm gonna say, is that a hand up or is that just saying me too? Because, that does happen.
It me.
Yeah, it me. I get that.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't have anybody in my chat today, which, it happens.
I have fatality. She keeps me company. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think the two animes are really fascinating, and I think, they both show this kind of create. I think that's something that a lot of people also have a hard time accepting. We talked about this chaos, and we talked about, stability is boring, and the big thing, hand up and me too. Oh, okay. Fatality had a hand up.
Do you have a question? Because
yes,
we'll definitely take questions. I'm not gonna be like questions at the end.
No, God no.
It's like ask them away, man.
It'd be one thing if we had like 100 people in chat.
Yeah.
But we don't.
But at that point, I think it would be one of those that we'd need at least like 2 or 3 moderators. Not that kind. Well, I mean, I get it.
But well, yeah, we talked about this chaos and how stability is boring, and I think the big thing that is so hard for people to understand is that you will create your own chaos. Oh, okay. It's a send me the gallows humor, hands up.
Gotcha.
That we create our own chaos because we're bored.
Yeah. And I mean, you live in chaos for so long with with your trauma, it's natural to need that feeling. Whereas if you're not dealing with trauma anymore, you're kind of just sitting around and you feel like you're going day to day because you haven't progressed. You don't feel like there's progression because the world's not on fire.
Mm-hmm. And so you create it. You wait for the other shoe to drop for so long, you'll just drop the other shoe yourself.
It's like,
because not only is this... Well, huh?
I might as well.
Because not only is stability boring, but it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
And it's too good. It's too good to be true. Something awful is going to happen. But if something awful happens, that's going to hurt me. So I might as well destroy it because then it doesn't hurt as bad.
Exactly.
Because I'm in control of it.
It's actually very similar to how I feel about my first house, my own house. I'm not living with, I don't live with somebody else's family. I live on my own. And for the first, I want to say almost 3 months, it was always, okay, when am I leaving this? When is this going to turn around? When's the pain going to come back? It hasn't yet, so I'm still scared about it. Still waiting. And that's, we you've got shows like Doomsday Preppers and stuff like that where people are focused on the apocalypse. That's essentially trying to plan for trauma, and while you can plan as much as you want, when something like that actually truly happens, none of us will be ready. no matter
Yeah.
how much you've planned for it. We don't know how we're gonna. You won't know how you react to anything until it actually happens.
Yep. Yep. And I mean, unless it all sucks it out of you, like Spike, and you don't
Yeah,
react to anything. Or you've got Vash who reacts to everything.
and like a snap, his reaction time is, well, him not being human. His reaction time is inhuman, but yeah,
And it's crazy to see the two big differences in how to carry your trauma. Because I think for a long time, especially being in it, but for a long time, I carried mine a lot like Spike. I was kind of angry at the world, and none of it fucking mattered. So why try?
Mhm.
I'm not gonna plan past 21.
Yeah, that's a real feeling, especially when you're, I want to say 17, 18, and have gone through. And that's a big thing about trauma that a lot of people try to think is like, when we talk about trauma, when we say trauma, a lot of people are like, well, it's just all you're talking about when it comes to trauma is like somebody being shot, being in war. And it's like, no, trauma is trauma. You're not one size fits all cap here. We're talking about anything. So like a car crash, that's a good example. That's trauma. And it could be something as much as like you rolling your car down the hill, or a fender bender, because if the anything like it, you could literally just drive out back out your driveway and hit somebody else, but that was traumatic to you.
Yeah.
That makes you fearful of pulling out of your, backing up. It's trauma is not a one size fits all, so we all react to it differently.
Yeah. Very differently. Um,
Exactly, Fatality. It is definitely a shock on your system, no matter how small. I love that I can
mhm.
see your chat too. It's pretty
It is.
fantastic.
It is. It's definitely a shock to the system, no matter how small. It's something unexpected. And it goes back to that unexpected event. Uh, you didn't expect to hit them backing out of your driveway.
Right.
Yeah, nobody expects that. Versus putting yourself in it because you miss it.
Hmm.
With Spike, he does that on his jobs. He pushes the people away. Faye and Ein and Ed eventually leave. Jet doesn't, but Faye and Ed do. Because rather than, the way he dealt with his trauma was it was numb, and it was angry in its own way. It wasn't angry as a, oh my God, I hate the world, but it was angry in a quiet, kind of seething angry.
Right.
And they left because it was better that he pushed them away, because why get close? People just leave anyway.
See, and in Trigun, towards the last like 3 episodes, Vash pushes Meryl and Millie away because he wants to protect them, and his thought process is not that people leave, but everybody around him gets hurt, and he doesn't want to lose people that he loves, so he's pushing them away to protect them. And
Yeah.
Meryl is like, no, I want to be there because I want to help, I want to love you, I want to, and it's that is completely a thing with trauma, is like we push people away because we don't want to hurt them. We push people away because they're going to leave anyway. Both are totally valid, especially when you've grown up in maladaptive relationships and seen and been part of maladaptive relationships.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's crazy to think that, because they're vastly different.
Hmm.
They're vastly different. And like you said, both of them are valid. And I've been through both. I've seen both. I've handled both. And this is personal life. I'm not even talking about my job. We are not going to get into my job. you know, my personal life. I've seen and handled both, and you handle them both so similarly, but so differently.
Right.
Because you want to take, the abandonment trauma, because that's what that is. That's abandonment trauma. Either way you swing it, it's abandonment trauma. Oh, if you stay, you're going to get hurt, so you need to leave. And, oh, you're just going to leave anyway, so I'm just going to not. One is more of a hero complex, and the other's more of a hero complex. The other's abandonment trauma. But, you deal with both in very similar situations of proving the pattern and the narrative wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Over and over and over again, because the brain likes patterns. And it will seek out those patterns, even if they're not there. And it's not conscious. It's not a conscious thought. But the brain seeks those patterns, and it will look for those patterns in those people. Oh, that tone changed. They must hate me. Oh, they're crying. I must have done something to hurt them. Or they got hurt because of somebody I know. Therefore, I hurt them.
And even we can go. What was I trying to say? So like, we think about how the world is now, and how you mentioned, that tone of voice. I think of, oh well, they didn't message me back. They didn't talk to me. With the invention of text messaging, instant messaging, direct messages, our communication went from writing a letter, sending it out, and they'd get it in a week or two, to a phone call where they would either answer or not answer, to it's instantaneous. And if you are talking about something that could deal with trauma, that abandonment issue, with an instant message not being replied to, it can make you feel that you're alone. Mm-hmm. And it really sucks. Yeah. It really sucks because, like, I don't know if it's everybody, but there are certain times where it's like, oh, hey, I feel like I'm alone. And I could be in a house full of people, and it be like, midnight, so everybody's asleep. I'm the only person awake, and it's like, oh, hey, I'm alone. Nobody loves me. And and things, we catastrophize. We continue to build on our thoughts, and we continue to make it worse on ourselves. And it's just like, we need to step away from our situation, deal with a coping skill, and come back to it.
Or reach out.
Yeah, reaching out does definitely help. And in my case, because, this is me, in my case, I've got some really good friends, like this one up here, which she's above me, and this one over here in the her chat. They are very good people, and I really do like them. And
raccoon paws.
Yeah.
No, and that's hell. You've become one of the people. I'm like, hey man, what's up?
Yeah.
What's going on? It's late. I know you're awake. What's up?
That's just me. I don't sleep.
Look, it's fine. It's a mood. But yeah, and it's, reaching out to those people, again, this goes with the hero complex of, well, if I reach out, I'm a burden, I'm a problem. And then ties back into that abandonment, and then they'll leave.
And it's, that's one thing, is it's definitely important to reach out to those people who are, who may be struggling. Even if they're not struggling, reaching out to anybody that you care about, anybody that you talk to on a daily basis, or not even a daily basis, but like you speak with frequently. Sometimes just a, hey, how you doing, could be the thing that changes their day. Yeah, a sup, that could be life-changing. You never know when sup could save a life.
I mean, yeah, and that's the thing, is it doesn't always have to be a reach out with, hey, I'm lonely, or hey, I'm not doing okay, or hey, this. It's just, sometimes it's just a, hey, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, you drink water today? Or
yeah.
Or hey, let's go. If your friends are not, in Texas, or 4 hours away, it's like, hey, you want to go on a walk?
Mine is a drive.
Yeah, driving works.
Mine is always you want to go for a drive.
One of my favorite coping skills when I was a case manager, like a coping skill thing to do, was to take a slow drive through the park, listening to whatever music that we decided on. The one person I, huh?
Nothing. Continue.
The one specific like person that I did that with a lot. We listened to Led Zeppelin all the time. I'm not even a Zeppelin fan, and I know that that's blasphemy to some people, but like we would listen to Zeppelin. We'd literally cruise through the park at like 5 to 10 miles an hour and just play like Stairway to Heaven or whatever, because I'm not, like I said, I'm not a Zeppelin fan. That's really the only one that I know.
Kashmir
And
probably too.
yeah, and it's like, or Interstate Song, and it's like we just slow down, listen to these songs, and just being with somebody and listening to music can be a world changer. And it can, I mean, you can break down the songs themselves, which we probably will do on this podcast at a later date.
I love that. I love breaking down music. It's one of my favorite things.
But like music as a coping skill, you find a song, find any song that you absolutely adore 100%, sing it with your heart just as loud as you can. Doesn't matter if you're on key, off key, just enjoy it. It feels good, and do it as loud as you can, because Primal Scream is a thing, and you can literally go outside and just yell as loud as you want about anything, and it could just be just as long as you're getting it there, you're feeling it, you're processing. And music is very, very good way to process your emotions.
Oh yeah, and with driving, for me, one of my favorite things to do as an undergrad, me and my friend at the time, we had Supernatural Tuesdays. We'd go get Taco Bell, we'd go to her place, and we'd watch Supernatural. And then after Supernatural, we'd get in the Jeep and we'd go drive, because I grew up in a coastal town.
Mm-hmm.
And so we go and windows down, probably going a little bit faster than we should have, blaring whatever punk pop song she wanted to listen to at the time, just going with the wind, just coming through. Could we hear each other? Absolutely not.
I think I've actually been to the coastal town that you're talking about, or at least one really close to it.
Probably.
When I was in advanced individual training, we would get weekends to go and kind of do. Me and a couple friends went and wanted to try surfing, so we drove down to Corpus Christi and tried to surf.
No, don't surf in Corpus. That's bullshit.
No, it is bullshit.
No, don't surf in Corpus. Especially if you don't know where to go.
Yeah, we didn't.
Oh, it's a shame. I could have shown you.
Well, this was also 2008. I don't think you were old enough yet.
I wasn't out of high school yet.
Yeah, see?
I wasn't out of high school yet. I was 10 to 11 was senior, 9 to 10 was junior. I was a sophomore.
Okay.
Either sophomore or freshman.
I graduated in 08. So.
He's going to scream in my chat here in a second. About how too young.
Grow some age. I'm trying to.
No, I graduated in 2011.
Okay. So not too much with youngin'. That's the one.
Did she? Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
So like, and that is a thing though, is like when we think about going back to the characters we're looking at here, we look at, if you want to look at their ages based on who's around them, because you can't look at Vash because age is not really a thing for him. Well, actually, I mean, it can be. So you think about Vash and how he has hope for everybody around him to try to grow and be better, but he's living timelessly. He doesn't age. He doesn't, everybody's aging around him. And one of the episodes, he actually meets somebody, like he comes back. I think it's 10 years later. He comes back to this floating city and everybody's like, wow, you look exactly the same. And he's like, oh my God, you guys have grown. And it's like, all the people around him. It's the elven complex, or the elven conflict that Arwen has in Lord of the Rings, where
Yeah.
Aragorn's gonna grow old and die, and she'll still be eternally living. Which, I mean, she does die later in the, but that's
Yeah.
past the books.
But yeah, and so you've got that time to create that happiness while you've got it.
But like, all the people around him are dying. They'll always die, because he'll always be the same age. He'll always, I mean, he'll eventually die, but it was never in any of the anime or
Yeah.
manga. Whereas, like, you know, most of the people that Spike's around, I think Jet's the oldest of the people that's around him, right?
Yeah, Jet's the oldest, being 34. Don't correct me. I'm looking right now.
Whereas, like, Spike's in his mid 20s, and it's, you know,
I'm working on it. 27. Spike is 27. Which is actually really interesting, because there's some studies that show 27 is the
year to die.
Yep.
You got Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison. There's a whole club for it. People dying when they're 27.
Let me think about it.
I think Kurt Cobain died when he was 27. I don't remember if he did or not.
Well, I mean, but if you think about it, 27 is such a weird age. 27 is such a stressful age.
Well, one of my thoughts on that, yeah, Cobain did die when he was 27. But one of my thoughts on that, ultimately, like, you think about 27.
Jet's 36.
Oh, Jet's 36. Okay. So 27, you think about it, like, you are done with all of, except for, like, your post, like, menopause. But most of your human development is pretty much done at 25.
Yep.
Now, 30 is that, like, oh shit, I'm 30. I'm literally, like, my life is almost half over, or is half over, depending on where we are in the human timeline. But, like, 27 itself it's that, like, in between. There's nothing that you can look forward to, but everything that you literally look back and go, wow, I wish I was that. I wish I would have thought of this differently, and I'd be in a better place. For those who are, like, you know, granted, a lot of the people that have died at 27 are famous, or are, you know, like, but
No, 27 age.
yeah, it
You
really
know,
is.
I remember talking about it with a couple of friends of mine, and one of them turns 27 before I do. It's like 6 months before I do.
So you're not 27 yet?
No, this is back. That's when I was 26.
Oh, okay.
I'm 29.
Okay. I don't feel so old then.
He turned 27 before I did, because he's in June and I'm in November. And he had messaged me. He goes, I just sat here and watched the clock turn midnight. I went, welcome to the other side, or not welcome to the other side, but yeah, welcome to the other side. He goes, yeah, bitch, you better survive the next 6 months. He goes, I'm not hitting 28 by myself. You best survive the next 6 months. And, you know, when I hit 27 or 28, I messaged him and I went, well, he goes, welcome to the other side. It's not any better.
It's not.
And my other friend, who's a year younger than me, you know, she turned 28 and she messaged me. She went, I sat here and watched this clock turn midnight, and I didn't do a damn thing about it. I didn't even try to stop this time, but, like, we were just moaning about it.
I tried so hard to not turn 30, and then I turned 31, and I was like, it's the same shit as I was when I was 28. So, like, It's no different. It's just it's a weird feeling about being 27.
Yeah, I think in the whole studio thing we're building, I think Grim and I are the youngest. I'm the youngest. And he is the friend who turns 30 before I do in June.
I don't want to know like who would be the oldest. It's not me. I know that.
No, I think it's Felony.
No. Well, yay, Fatality.
Because I don't think Glass is older than her. Right? I know she's in chat. I know she's listening. I know she's screaming about it.
We'll call her the fifth Hokage.
Yeah, it hurts. The fifth Hokage. She's not gonna get that reference.
Just as long as you call her Grandma Tsunade, because you're the youngest.
Yes.
I want to do a quick one of these. If you're down.
Yeah, let's do it.
Kind of break up the, we're at about the hour 6 mark.
Oh yeah, Tsunade is my favorite.
Right, Tsunade is awesome. All right, so we're gonna stay on topic with anime today. Today's card is anime.
I don't want to know. I don't like that.
She goes. She typed in chat. She goes, "You call me grandma. I'm gonna take your Nico kneecaps." I'm down. But
it's fucking Nico neck too.
Right. This anime one. It reads, anyone who watches anime tends to remember the first anime they saw. This is often considered to be a starter anime. What was the first anime you remember watching? What was it like watching that anime? What emotions did it stir up for you? And what characters did you enjoy? And I like that one because, we are talking about, some really good anime here and some starter for people who may not be into anime. Some starter animes may be a good topic to have. So what's your first anime?
My first was Sailor Moon.
Okay.
I mean, if we're gonna be real honest, I'm trying to think back, because I watched Sailor Moon for a little while when I was good. Realize my childhood timeline is real fucked up right now, so I'm still trying to figure all that out. That maybe 12, maybe.
Okay.
And I loved Sailor Pluto.
Nice.
Was a huge fan of Sailor Pluto. And I don't really remember like the big impact it had on me. Like that's all hard to remember. So we'll just go to the one I do remember having a huge impact on me, and that's Full Metal Alchemist, not Brotherhood.
Okay.
I remember that one in full and how it impacted me, and Hughes will still just rip me apart any day of the week.
It looks like rain today.
It looks like rain. But that one really impacted me because, here, I think it was the first time I ever saw the representation. And that was the thing about Sailor Moon. Sailor Moon had a very, you could be traditionally feminine and strong representation. And that was great.
Mm-hmm.
That was wonderful. But Full Metal really had, with Winry and Hawkeye, this whole, you don't have to be traditionally feminine. And that's okay.
And what I really love about that is, and outside of those, you've got Envy, who looks very feminine, very androgynous throughout the entire series, and unless you're paying close attention, you wouldn't know that it is a female or is a male until the very last episode.
Yeah.
So like I always pegged Envy as, one, he can be whoever he wants.
Did you read chat?
Which one? Cowboy Bebop. It was under duress, and I remember absolutely nothing. I get that.
Yeah, that's okay. We're gonna watch Tech 9 together.
Tech 9? Are we talking about the? No.
Not Tech 9. Yeah, Tech 9.
Tech 9, like not the rapper. I don't think I know this anime. Oh, you are talking about the rapper.
No, we're not talking about the rapper. Tech 9, not the rapper.
Okay.
It's a baseball anime, but it's got Corpse voicing it.
I have heard about that one.
That's what got her to be able to watch this one. Is Corpse in it?
Tribe 9.
Tribe 9, not Tech 9. Tribe 9. But yeah, so with Sailor Moon, it was great because it was this whole, hey, you can be traditionally feminine and tough. Yeah, we can go back to Sailor Moon because that was a big impact. Growing up on a ranch and growing up on 30 acres, you really didn't have a whole lot of time to be traditionally feminine. You put on your boots, you go out there, you get dirty, you go to school. And so, and being around Western females is very different. Like, Western females are very different. Traditionally feminine in a Western country sense is very different for everybody. These were very much the jeans, but the really nice pearl snap button up with the glitter thread through it, not the sundresses with an egg apron and a sun hat baking bread, which is God, I love that. I want that life so bad. Give me that cottagecore life. But yeah, it's okay to be traditionally feminine. It's okay to have strong friends and have that friendship tie with you.
Okay.
What about you?
My first anime that I remember watching, it was like I watched 3 different animes all around the same time because Toonami was really big in the like early to mid 90s. I remember watching Dragon Ball, like Dragon Ball itself, not Dragon Ball Z, even though Z was out, Gundam Wing, and then Rurouni Kenshin.
I remember watching Rurouni.
And like they all, each one of them, like they have their own settings and their own worlds, their own everything. Like Gundam Wing, I really loved the idea of these massive machines, the future, and like the battles itself was what drew me to that because it was loud, it was big, it was flashy. Dragon Ball, I felt really connected to Goku as Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z where he was stupid powered for no reason, but this little kid who was, who was strong because he didn't fit in the world, but he was still trying to discover himself. And I like that aspect about Dragon Ball, which in the emotions that stirred up for me was like I never felt like I fit in anywhere, and he kind of made me feel like I fit in with something. But Rurouni Kenshin, or even Yu Yu Hakusho, so we're all like the 4. I watched a lot of anime as a child. But like Yu Yu Hakusho and Rurouni Kenshin were like those, it's been so long for Rurouni Kenshin that I don't remember the storyline, but I do remember that I thought it was amazing that this redheaded samurai was just kicking ass, and being a redhead myself, it was like, yay, representation of, everybody wants blondes, everybody wants, brunettes, and the redheads are over there like, ew, who the fuck wants you?
Oh, buddy.
which I now know is a complete lie that I've told myself for so many years.
Lie that you told yourself.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh. I don't know. I had just had a moment. So I didn't realize I completely blitzed all the little animes I watched in between everything for some fucking reason. I remember when Time Warner Cable had the on-demand channels and they had anime on demand.
Ooh.
Oh, I watched DN Angel.
I love DN Angel.
Tutu.
Oh my god.
You are the only person I know that has ever seen DN Angel.
I have seen it and I have read the anime or the manga.
Oh my god.
The manga is so much better, and I know that happens for most of them, but like the difference between Satoshi, Krad, Dark, and Daisuke is so different in the manga.
My attraction to toxic men started when I chose Dark over Daisuke any day of the fucking week.
And see, it could even be worse when you chose Krad over Dark, because Krad was like dark but evil.
But no, I watched kind of a moment. A lot of the first animes I watched, Sailor Moon, One Piece. I watched that one behind my mother's back. She hated the fact I loved One Piece so much.
One Piece, really? Like,
yeah.
Okay, I mean, I get it later in the series, but like
No, like the very beginning, and I had to watch the 4Kids version. I didn't have a choice. That was the only one. I know it, it's gross, but that was the only one I was able to watch. Don't make that face at me.
It's funny. Um,
And she hated it, and because it was stupid. She's like, it's gonna rot your fucking brain. No, but I'm like, but it's right before Sonic X, and I watched
I
Sonic
love
X.
Sonic X.
So I'm gonna watch One Piece, and then it was Shaman King, and I watched the shit out of Shaman King too.
I watched Shaman King once or twice. It was okay to me, but I was also, a little older at that point.
I was in 6th grade.
Yeah, I think when Shaman King was popular, I think I was in high school.
That was
So,
in 6th grade.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, a lot of the first animes I watched surrounded this idea and this whole idea of building your own family.
Mm-hmm.
Having the strong friendship ties, having the people you can depend on, having to build your own somebody when nobody was there. Yeah, and that's a lot of the animes that I watched.
So I'll give you an anime that's not very long, and it's kind of got a unique premise, I would say, but it has that build your own family. Air Trek. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I've heard of Air Gear, not Air Trek.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, sorry. Air Trek is the rollerblades they have on, but Air Gear, Air Gear is really great.
Air Gear was great.
And that is one thing that we could actually add to this is you think about all of our characters here. So you got Spike, you've got Jet, you've got Faye, Ed, and Ein. While they're not your traditional family, it is a group of people that, while Spike ended up pushing them away, it is a group of people that were there for a common goal and cared about each other, may not have cared about each other in that, unconditional way, but Jet did.
Oh, Jet loved every single one of them.
And then you look at, on the other hand, you've got Vash and Millie, Wolfwood, Meryl, and all the people that he had around him. They're his family, even though Knives is his, it's Millions. Knives is his name, or Knives Millions. Knives is his true brother. All these people around him that he cared for so deeply were his family. And, family don't have to be blood. They could be your best friends. They could be people that you meet and, you care for deeply.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Going back to that trauma piece, especially in childhood trauma, you've got to learn to build one.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to learn it. That Supernatural stuck with me for a long time because of that.
But at the same time, you also got to look at that too. Where do you draw the line of the things that happen in these made families before you say, this isn't right with me? Because
that's where the stability versus toxicity.
Right. Well, I was thinking more along the lines of your trauma makes you want to, especially if you've got the abandonment issues, you want to do things to make it up. You want to make yourself fit in so that you don't lose other people that you've struggled so hard to have. And our characters exemplify that too. You think of Vash, how he wants to push them away so that he can protect them. But
and Spike is gonna leave anyway.
Oh, there's Asta. I don't know what those little characters are, but I love them.
Asta, they're from the Final Fantasy Online 14.
Okay.
I don't know. I call them the rainbow squirrels. I don't know what they are, but they're cute.
They're not Mogs, are they? Moogles?
The parade is watching.
I love it.
Asta.
I appreciate it.
Hello, Asta. The parade is watching.
Carbuncles. There we go. Okay.
I forget that you can see my chat. So I'm switching back and forth so I can look. And I forget that you can see my chat. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's where the stability comes in, really. I think, people heal from trauma, but it takes a lot. And it takes a lot of work. I wish I could sit here and say the work is easy. It's not.
It never will be. And there's always that chance of falling back down the hill a little bit.
Yeah, but that's okay. And, that's where that awareness piece comes in. That, hey guys, I'm really feeling like y'all hate me. I really feel like I said something wrong. Can I just get a little bit of reassurance?
Mm-hmm.
And that little bit of reassurance goes a long way, because then it turns into, maybe you ask that, gosh, once a month, and then it turns into, oh, no, I have plenty of proof that says that that's not true. I have plenty of proof that says my brain is wrong. They've been with me for a long time, and we're starting new patterns, new narratives, new cycles,
Right.
and then it turns into maybe once every 6 months, once every year, and then you don't have to at all. And then if, people do leave and people do split up, it's not a matter of, oh, they left me because they hate me. It's a matter of, oh, okay, there's something else here.
Right.
And the narrative changes. The narrative changes itself.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I said the word trauma bond was so important to me. The words trauma bond are so important, because if you look at that in psychology terms, it's very negative.
Oh, very.
When you trauma bond with people, whenever we psychologically talk about trauma bonding with people in a professional sense, we talk about bonding with people over trauma and keeping them there because that's what we know, and we want to stay in this trauma together. When I look at the word trauma bond, and when I look at it with us, it's not so much oh, we met each other in this trauma and we want to stay in this forever because then we always need each other, and a cat and mouse or frog and scorpion type, platonic love. It's no, we have been through the fucking ringer and we're going to get better together. We're all going to cross that finish line.
Which is a good thing. And that's
Which
definitely
is, yeah.
needed.
We're going to grow out of it together.
When I think of like ways to, because for those who are experiencing a trauma bond, and there's a chance that somebody will go to rehab, there's a chance that somebody will have a mental health break and need an inpatient stay. Depending on where you are, like, I have actually suggested for clients to be placed in facilities away from, take them an hour away, start them over there, get them an apartment, get them something where they're not here. Because if you're in that same location, that same everything,
Those same people.
sometimes a big move is what can be helpful to people. So
Yeah, because while you've got people who pressure you and you've got people who don't pressure you, even the people who didn't pressure you could still be a trigger of, oh, we used to have a lot of fun doing this together, and now I can't join y'all, but that urge is still there. That drive and that want is still there. It's a lot harder when it's an hour away versus 15.
or walking down the block.
Or walking down the block.
Well then.
We ended that on a dark note.
Yeah, we really did. And I was gonna say it is about that time, hour and a half. I think we did. Personally, I liked how our tonight went. It was a little more structured. We did get to rant and fall off topic a couple times, which you kind of needed, especially in these kind of topics. We didn't really talk about a specific coping skill tonight, but making sure to reach out to others was one thing that we did really focus on. Even if it is just a what's up.
Yep.
Some people don't like small talk, so it may be did you see so and so thing? I don't want to bring up specific things, but could literally be like, hey, have you been watching the trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? What you think?
Oh my god. I'm
Right, it's an absolute mess, but
yeah, or a TikTok.
Yeah,
I think I show a lot of my love right now through TikTok.
send a GIF. I love sending GIFs or memes. It's I saw a photo today. I hate that generic, you can call it basic, whatever. I hate that whole live, laugh, love thing, right?
Yeah.
But I saw a picture today that I absolutely loved. It was the Cenobites from, fuck, I can't even remember the name. What was the name of the movies? Couldn't tell you off the top of my head now. But the Cenobites, and it was live, laugh, love, but 3 of them, and I was like, that's perfect. It's terrible because they love pain, but still. Vitalini, do you know what Pinhead's from? What movie that?
Hellraiser.
There you go. Thank you. I couldn't think of Hellraiser for some reason.
I couldn't think of Cenobites for some reason.
Huh?
That's my lamp.
Yes, it is your lamp. It gives better light than mine. I'm only using it for now. But yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why I couldn't think of Hellraiser. I could think of Cenobites. I could think of Pinhead. I could not think of Hellraiser.
My favorite version of the Live, Laugh, Love is it's a cross stitch or it's an embroidery piece or whatever, and it says "Live, Laugh, Lobotomy."
Yes.
That one is God. If I could find a lobotomy, that is my oddity collection gem. If I could ever find one, is an old lobotomy set.
Ooh.
That would be my oddity collection gem.
That would
When it comes to old medical equipment,
wonder if you could find one on eBay.
I've looked everywhere, and they're expensive as hell.
Oh, well.
Because everybody knows what they are, so I'm hoping I
Yeah.
can find one somewhere where they're like, I have no idea what this is. I know it's just a nice pick and a hammer, but...
It's called an orbital clasp.
Yep.
I love it. Do they
But-
still do lobotomies? Yes.
They do.
Just not very often.
They do.
Walter Fried. Love that. 1945, American surgeon Walter Friedman develops the ice pick lobotomy.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I love weird medical history.
Makes me think, every time I hear the word lobotomy, I don't think of, like, what it actually is. I think of the show The League. Have you ever seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, you should. It's absolutely... For the time period that it was set in, the humor is about right. It can be offensive nowadays in some degrees because there are, it's a lot of friends shit-talking each other because, they're playing fantasy football, of course. But in one episode, one of the characters is about to get a lobotomy and she's like sticking the pick. She's like, this is where it's going to be. And he's like, that's not where my brain would be. And she's like, I'm the one performing it. It's like, ooh, you're going to really screw this guy up. But I just, every time I laugh about it, it's funny.
That's not where my brain would be.
Right. Because I think she's trying to go through his mouth to do it. And it's like,
No. Oh, no.
right? It's funny. It's great.
I'll have to look that scene up. But yeah.
I'll actually look it up real quick. But yeah. So I think it'll be about time for us to end here. Do you have any closing notes that you want to say?
No, except this was a pretty dark topic. Dark topic. Dark is relative. It's not dark to me, but it could be dark to somebody else. It's a pretty heavy topic. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's okay to reach out to people. It's okay to depend on other people. I think it's a big overarching theme. It is okay to depend on other people.
I can totally agree. A lot of the way we are taught now is to try to be as independent as possible. They, once you hit 18, it's kick you out the door, good luck in a lot of places. And it's like, no, we can be helpful to each other.
Yeah, or if you don't fit the box, you don't fit the need, you don't fit the this, So, especially in men. I know in men it's way more prevalent.
And you think about this is they always, and it's weird. I I don't know if I want to call it a juxtaposition, but it's a weird, like, a weird thought. They will always say, it takes a village to raise a child. But then once you hit, like, a certain age, it's like, well, good luck on you. You're on your own now. It's like,
Oh, we still need that village, even as adults.
but I still need the assistance. I still need somebody, even if it's not, like, monetary wise, I still need somebody to be there with me.
Yeah, it's an emotional thing.
Exactly. So,
It's an emotional need. We are social creatures.
some of us are. There are some people who do strive on being alone. But there are very few of us that are truly that way.
For the most part.
I can't find that scene. That makes me sad.
That's all right. All right. I think we're gonna.
Well, let's think. What kind of thing do we want to talk about on the next episode of Trauma Bond, the podcast?
Trauma Bond. It's Trauma Bond Studios.
Oh, yeah.
Name pending.
Yeah. Okay, so Trauma Bond Studios, name pending a mental health podcast.
I like the name pending a mental health podcast. I know we've talked about changing it, but every time I think about it, I'm like, no.
It kind of sticks. It's kind of good. It's just hard as hell to search for on YouTube.
Yeah, that's all right.
We'll get there
That's
once we get, like, 10 or 15 videos in. We just need to do this a little more often. Just work schedule is kind of crazy at the moment.
Yeah, it happens, man. I don't know. What do you want to talk about? We talked about anime. What would you talk about?
Well, we could always go on with the whole music thing next time.
Sure, I am 100% down. I think we should each choose, like, a number of songs to talk about.
Sure. We could do that. So next time on Dame Pending, a mental health podcast, we will be talking about and analyzing music and how it works with mental health.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I appreciate you guys for coming, and you have a wonderful evening.
Bye, everyone. And